everybody's attention. Thank you. I'm Mayor Michael Sheriff, and I want to welcome everybody here tonight. And this is an informative meeting, a discussion meeting to look at options and feasibilities of annexation. I want to introduce the panel here first before we start. Councilman Paget is heading up the effort and study on the annexation. After introductions, I will turn the meeting over to Councilman Paget. Sue Woods is our city clerk, and Gloria Turner is manager of City Water Department. Richard Davison is zoning and administrative planning commission. And we have with us Scott Slayton, who is senior field service manager with the South Carolina Municipal Association. And of course, most everybody knows Barry. Barry Chappell is our Public Works Director. We have Brett Southern, who is the County Auditor, Pickens County Administration. And Adam Gilstrap, who is our Police Detective. We appreciate everybody's interest and appreciate you coming out on a rainy night like tonight. Now I will turn it over to Councilman Paget.
Okay, thank you very much. As our mayor said, thank you very much for coming out. I know it's late and raining, and it's great to have this good crowd. And I think most of you will benefit from what we're going to show you tonight, and I think most everybody will like what we're going to show you tonight. And some of you, it's just not going to benefit you at all. And I know some of you just don't want to be in the city, and that's okay. You know, it's not for everybody. But hopefully you will look at what we've got to present tonight with an open mind. We're not here to blanket annex anybody, any particular neighborhood in. That's not what this is about. We're only here to show you the benefits of being in the city. So I hope everybody will see that. Let me step over here and tell you kind of what we're looking at. This is Lakewood Heights, and then off of 178, and these are the houses in Lakewood Heights. And there was about 70 houses counting all the streets, including Springdale. And then over in Branchwood, there's about 171 houses in Branchwood. I'm sorry, in Green Forest. Branchwood is one of the streets. But in Green Forest, there is about 171 homes. And then we have right beside it, 100 Mill Road. And then there's a couple down 178, Fort Hardy, Little Hardy, that we will not have those folks in. And then on up 178, the north side around the Florida Airport, that would be good to get those folks. But if you will look at it with an open mind tonight, I think you'll see how you can save some money and get good benefits or get good services from what you will see here tonight. I hope you can. And some of you may not, I said, you may not want to come into the city at all, and that's okay. And if you do, all you have to do is just fill out a form. Now that doesn't mean that we'll be able to get you in the city, but we'll keep the form. And in time, hopefully, sometime or another, you can that we can get you in the city. So everybody understand that this is not a blanket forcing anybody to come into the city. Okay.
That doesn't include your Highlands Road, which
Yes, I'm sorry, yes ma'am, you're correct. Going down towards the New School, Blue Hand Road, and the subdivisions across from the high school and on the right.
So you're going on down below to Chastain to Groville 123?
What we're trying to do is get to Highway 123.
Yeah, that's what I figured, so you're going to take in Chastain, Remainder Road.
Well, eventually, if enough people go into the city, see to connect into the city. Now, we have everybody here tonight has jobs, and like Richard, he knows annexation. Scott Slatton is with South Carolina Municipal Association. He has a farm use attorney backing him up, and he can answer any question on annexation. So I think I'm telling you right, and if I misquote, please somebody stop me. But the city limits has to be continuous. You know, if you're standing alone, I don't think you can join the city and nobody around you be in the city. Either your neighbor has to be in the city, and then you can attach to them, and then someone could attach to you.
Could you repeat that, please? I couldn't hear you.
Okay. If you're standing alone, and there's no neighbors around that touch your property, and none of your neighbors are in the city, if none of your neighbors are in the city, then you can't come in. It has to be continuous. But if you're in the city, But if you're in the city, then you can annex in by you're touching the city, so it becomes continuous when your property is annexed in. But to stand alone, no one around you in the city, it can't be done. So, am I telling you correctly?
Correct.
Yes, sir. Okay. So that's the bad part of it. Yes, Ms. Gillespie?
Okay, say that you got one side of the street that's city already.
Yes, ma'am.
That's in the city.
Yes, ma'am.
Where I'm at is not. Can you jump across the street?
Yes, ma'am. If you desire to be in the city and your neighbor across the street is in the city, just like you and like Springdale, most of Springdale on the railroad track side, most of that street is in the city. Why the other side is not?
If I decide not to be in the city, across the street from me is in the city, the school from the city, I'm across the street. Can they jump across and take into account acres and all that?
Yes, ma'am. As long as it's continuous and to cross the street.
So they can cross the street.
Yes, ma'am.
So people that have farms can take a look at that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. If you will, after I get through, maybe I'll answer everybody's question as we go through it, and then at the end, certainly we'll try and answer. I think we have enough people and knowledge that we'll be able to answer any question that you may have about taxes, with our auditor being here, and about annexation with our South Carolina Municipal Association representative here. So just bear with me for a few minutes and see what it is and see what it is about, and then you're more welcome to ask any question that you'd like to. Okay? Did everybody get a value of their property? So everybody got pretty much a value of their property. Okay. We're going to use $100,000 value, property value. So, you know, I'm sorry. Okay, we're going to try and use $100,000. We're going to use $100,000 value property. So yours may be 70, 80, 90, 100, 200, 250. We can look it up on the computer to see what Pickens County has it valued at, and that's what you pay tax on, what they have it valued at. It may be right or wrong, better or worse, but still that's what you're paying the tax on. So we're looking at $100,000. Pickens County tax is $918. So you can look on your respective chart there and see what your county taxes is on the property value of your home. Then they have a county tax credit of $91.90. Then you have a school tax credit of $432. Okay, so the total of your taxes, after these are subtracted out of it, would be $394. Now this is, you live outside the city, okay? Now, in Pickens County, each city pays a fire fee. If you don't live in the city, you have to pay a fire fee. And right now, Pickens County, Liberty is $86. Now, Mr. Slanton will testify or agree that this coming year tax bill is going to I'm sorry.
I believe it's gonna be 106
106.
this year.
But for the sake of what the website had at 86, so it's going to be 106. But we're going to leave it at 86 because that's what the website says. So if you add that to the 394, you got 480. Then if you have sewer, which most of you that live in Green Forest and some of you in Lakewood Heights has sewer, but they have easily central water. So you would only add sewer. So the difference in a month's at 5,000 gallon, the difference is $6.82. $6.82 is the difference times 12, and that's another $81. So it's $5.61. That's how much you're up to now, paying the difference in the sewer. Now, if you live in where another street that had you where you have sewer and city water, then the difference in the being inside the city and outside the city is $926 times 12, and that's $111. So you're up to $673 is what you're paying by living outside the city. Now, I didn't put it on the sheets, but I found out this week that trash pickup in Lakewood Heights, I'm not sure about Branchwood. I know there's an independent contractor that picks up, that has a trash run, but people in Lakewood Heights that don't live in the city pay $25 a month. So that's $300 or more dollars. So if you're paying the $300, you're paying the difference in the water, you're paying the difference in the sewer, and then you're paying the fire fee, you end up with $973 is what you're actually paying to live outside the city, where that's quite a bit. But if you lived in the city, it's $504. Yes, sir.
Now, all of us in Lakewood Heights pay a garbage fee, and we're not in the city, we pay zero because our county taxes pay for the recycle centers we use. So that's really not
That's true, and you don't pay sewer fee because you have septic tanks. That is if these numbers were if. You know, you pay the fire fee for sure, but you don't have sewage. Yeah, most people out on around past Lake, on out Hillendale, Springdale has sewer. Emerald Court has septic tanks, so you don't pay this, and you don't pay the water because you don't have city water. You have easily central. Then there's no designation of easily central water for inside the city or outside the city. Yes, ma'am.
Now, it's my understanding that city taxes are in addition to county taxes. You're presenting it as if it's an instead of.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just haven't got to that yet. If you live in the city, your county taxes is $910. Your city taxes is $320. In South Carolina, we pay a penny state tax extra, and that comes back to the counties and the cities to help with their taxes. If you live in the county, the state refunds back, and you would end up on a $100,000 house, you would end up with $91.90 county tax credit. If you live in the city, you get that $91.90, and you get back $201 in city tax credit. So out of the $320 that you paid city tax, The state gives you back 101. So you're at $119 is the difference that you're paying to live in the city. And you don't have to pay garbage pickup, limb and debris removal. Two other advantages is recycling, and I know a lot of you have county recycling, but soon I think that's going away. Is that not right, Barry?
There's, we're gonna try to get all the recycling we can get. We'll try our best to get people. So Liberty has taken over most of recycling. And if it wouldn't bother us, probably especially when we get further out into the county.
Speak up.
He's saying that the city,
If in the city, it'd be recycled, picked up by the city of Liberty.
all the recycling will be taken over from the county by Liberty, and we'll pick up a recycling.
Those 3 credits that you're showing there, how long are those credits available for? Do we know that?
What now, I'm sorry?
On the breakdown that you have, to your
Uh-huh.
right, on those last 3, it looks like the last 3 credits there.
Yes, ma'am.
Tax. How do we know how long those credits will be available and if those numbers will change?
I guess as long as South Carolina charges that 1 cent extra sales tax. Mr. Slatton, or?
I mean, as long as the local option sales tax is in place, you would continue to get that credit.
Is this something that changes?
It changes from year to year. Yeah, it depends on whatever the sales tax revenue was from the previous year. It fluctuates. So it's not always the same.
Is
there a big fluctuation? This is based on this current year.
This is based on 2011 millage rates and 2011 tax credits. They haven't been set yet for this year.
The local option sales tax that is shown as that credit there is an optional tax that voters can levy on themselves inside a county. And then all the sales taxes that are generated within that county and within each municipality are sent to the State Department of Revenue. And then the State Department of Revenue has several formulas that it uses that takes into account population, the point of the sale, where the sales tax was generated, and some other factors. And then they send that money back to the counties and the cities, and the money has to be used specifically to offset property taxes. So I don't know, Brent, you probably know if, or Mayor and Mr. Paget, if Liberty uses 100% of their local option sales tax to offset as a credit. But that's all the local option sales tax can be used for, is to offset property taxes. So that, and of course that, as Brent said, that number fluctuates for each city and county up and down depending on the amount of sales tax that's collected throughout a year. So in good times, like we had prior to the recession, you got a bigger credit, and when the sales taxes are down, then the credit goes down, but you will always continue to get some sort of a credit unless the county council or the voters decide that they want to repeal that penny and take it off. So that credit you will have on there for as long as you as county residents and city residents continue to want to have it. The other credit, the school property tax credit, is a result of the Property Tax Reform Act from 2006. It was also called Act 388. And that property tax credit ain't going nowhere. That one will stay on there so long as the General Assembly in Columbia decides that you should continue to have that relief. And there is no inclination whatsoever for that to ever change or be repealed. So that one's going to be on there for a while.
And that's the big one, $432. Now, a couple of you asked me about rental or investment properties, why your taxes are so much higher. If you have a rental or investment property, you pay 6% to begin with. It's 6% instead of 4%. And the school tax credit, you don't get that. So that's the big. It's not the 2 extra percent that causes your taxes to go up. It's because the school tax credit you don't get.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Sir, there's a discrepancy between 918 on the front page of the county tax and the county tax on the second page of 910.40. What is the difference in that? Why is there a difference?
Mine was the same way. When I did this, I used my house, my home, and there was a few cents, even to $1 or so difference when I don't know.
Well, I based mine off of this 130, and I think mine's assessed for like 136, and it's a good bit off. I mean, it's like almost $200 off of what I'm paying $6.99, and I think according to that, it was like 5 and some change that was supposed to be paying, which obviously is not right.
Yeah, what from 130 to 137, did you say?
136.
136.
It's $6,000 in
Yeah.
one place.
My computer's right behind you if you want to look it up and see what it says on there. It's set on the Pickens County website if you want to go ahead and do
Yeah, I've
that.
got it at $6.99.
Oh, okay. But that is what, with the benefits of trash and limb pickup, the benefit of living in the city, and your property value possibly having a better value by living in the city, and faster response, better response by the police department. And by no means are we cutting down the county, but in an emergency situation, if your house is getting broke into and you call 911, that officer may be up at the airport, or he may be in Clemson, or up at Table Rock.
I've got another question for you as well. Let's say that we were to annex into those areas, who's gonna pay for those water lines to be ran? How is that going to happen? How is that gonna be sewer lines? Who's gonna cover that charge? Is the city going to pay all of that?
The water line, you're asking if the water lines will be put in and the sewer lines put in. Probably at no certain time. I'm not sure how that would work. Maybe someone else could answer that question.
Lance, you don't mind?
Yeah, our mayor got an opinion on that.
The water and sewer will not be affected by that. If you're on south side water, you stay on south side water. In the future, if you're, say, I don't know if anybody's on the well, still on the well, but if you are in the future, we may look at providing a project to put water in, but we're not taking over the water or the sewer. It's part of this annexation project. We will look later at funding and projects, adding sewer lines where there's no sewer lines, but that'll be in conjunction with the county.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your question. I didn't realize that. I live on Lake and Hillendale Road, and I've had easily central water since 1975. Did I hear another question? Yes, sir.
So the fire fee in the city, you don't have to pay the fire fee if you are annexed to the city?
If you're in, yes, we that's in the city do not pay a fire fee. Yes, ma'am.
What makes them get there any faster? Are you gonna put a fire station out by us, or that was what they were saying, you were saying that you would have faster response, like with the police and things?
Police department, yes, ma'am.
Well, how would they get there any faster if they were, I mean, I just don't understand how it would make a difference
Well-
to, if you're.
The fire department will not. No, the fire department won't.
Right now, if you live in the county, you would call the sheriff's office and they would respond to you. And the sheriff's office doesn't have anyone designated to stay in the Liberty City area. So that county deputy may be coming from anywhere in the county.
Okay, now I understand.
Here in the city of Liberty, we have designated, we stay inside the city.
Right.
So we're only 2-3 miles away at any time.
Now, this isn't for the police though. Who would maintain the roads and things? Would that be city then also?
The road,
County, yes.
roads will still be owned by the same people that own it. We have county roads inside the city, we have state roads inside the city. Most of your major roads are state, and the maintenance on that would not change.
What
And
about like inside the development
How
itself.
about residential streets?
Right.
That's the question.
Well, the city would take over the residential roads inside the city if it's annexed in. The state road would remain state, and the county road would probably remain county. But, and let me go ahead and say this too, we addressed the police in your original question, but the fire response, you're gonna have the same fire service you got now. You're just not gonna pay the 80, whatever, $120 or 110, whatever it is per year. You will not pay that when you're inside the city. That's covered by your city taxes.
Did that answer your question?
It did, thank you.
I live in Green Forest, and this is just the information that I get. I get my water through Easley Central Water District. I contacted them. I asked them if I was annexed, would there be a change in my bill? They said no. I contacted Northland Cable, would there be a change in my bill? They said no. I contacted Duke Energy, would there be a change in my bill? They said no. I contacted Fort Hill Natural Gas, will there be a change in my bill? They said no. I pay for private trash service, it costs me $12.50 a month. The city is slightly better at $6. The only thing I see that you're doing for me is saving me $78 a month on my trash service. I mean, I just want people to kind of, and this is the research I did. I also called my insurance agent. The city's ISO fire protection code is a 5. In Liberty area, we are also a 5. There will be no change in your homeowner's insurance rate. And as regards your property value going up, when I look for houses, I specifically look outside the city limit because I do not want to pay taxes. So if you're going to claim my property value,
So it's very obvious you're not gonna fill out the form tonight, Mr. I'm sorry, that's, the only benefit on utilities that you have, as I stated, is the sewer. The sewer's the only utility. Like I said in the beginning, like I said in the beginning, it doesn't affect, Easley Central Water does not, it doesn't affect, there's no in or out of city limits to them, or any of the other utilities. I own a house on Branchwood in Green Forest. There's no difference in where I live on Lakewood Heights. There's no difference.
So
But
then why does it say that? Why does it say, right here, why do you have 5,000 gallon water difference on the?
It goes by the number of gallons of water that you use. Where do you live, ma'am?
But why does it say the difference inside 1045 and 1575 outside, and the difference of 530 on the water on this page?
If you have city water, that's the difference in city water. And if you have city sewage or outside the city sewage, then that's the difference that you pay.
Are you going to have extra police service for all these homes you're taking in?
If Liberty grows that much, yes, we will grow our police department at the same time.
You said it was 170 houses, you take in all that, you're going to need more police service. Do you have the money for that?
How long does it take you to ride your neighborhood?
Are you going to be able to cover that?
I think that was the correct question.
I understood the question, but, you know, if we patrol,
Take over.
ma'am,
170 homes is a lot for them to take over. Are you going to be able to provide? Are you
Well-
going to be able to provide service for that?
I think
I'm gonna go
so.
when I call.
I think so, don't you?
It's fine. What was
Well,
that?
you know, this case scenario, at nighttime, as a general rule, now I know during the day, if you're on 178, you know, around like Highway 8, you'll see, it seems like 50 sheriff's cars go by you. Now, I don't know if all those cars are on patrol during the day, but during the night, do you have an idea of how many patrols they have at night?
The sheriff's office?
Yes.
I don't know for sure. I couldn't answer that. It's probably around 10 or so
Would that be that many
for the whole county.
for the whole county? So, you know, that, I don't know. I mean, yes, we would be able to handle that extra amount. Yes, ma'am.
Are you gonna
Is there,
garbage people to pick up the garbage?
they can get our whole neighborhood in just a couple, if,
Are you
Maybe
gonna
an hour.
settle the expense?
our whole neighborhood prepared in an hour.
They run the routes today 4 days a week. I mean, if it becomes necessary, 5 days, we have one day.
You wouldn't go back and, believe me. Someone in the back, yes.
About 10 or 12 years ago, Green Horse went through this same ordeal where they wanted us to annex in the city limits. When we didn't do it, they raised our sewer charge. If we don't annex it now, do we have to face that again where there's a chance they'll raise our sewer charge again?
I'm not aware of that, what happened back then. No, we just had a sewer increase, the whole city did, because the county went up. And the everybody is paying more sewage. But no, do you remember that, Sheriff, Mayor?
Yeah, I remember that discussion, and I think that was just coincidental. It wasn't done because you did not annex in. We actually had a sewer rate increase last month because we had a sewer rate increase from the county effective 1st of July. We absorbed it a couple of months, but see, we don't treat our own sewer. The county treats the sewer for us, and they charge us a flat sewer rate. When they go up, we don't have any other choice than to go up for our customers. So it's a pass-along increase, and that's already been done. We don't have any plans to go up again until the county goes up.
Well, is this correct? The people outside the city pay more than the people inside the city?
They do.
Why? And I mean, I've been doing that for 20 years. Why have I been paying more?
You pay more outside the city for water and sewer because you're not in the tax structure and you're not supporting the city in any other way.
He has easily central water.
Well, okay, sewer then. You have limited sewer. But those who have water and have sewer, and that's pretty much standard in any municipality.
On the water bill, on water, we lived on Island Street, and we bought our house in 1975 and moved to Hillendale Road. I never paid over $5 a month, and this was in 1975. We never paid over $5 a month for water. My first water bill on Hillendale Road in 1975 was $28. I like to die. That was more than my heat bill I was paying on Island Street. So we pay dearly for water on Hillendale Road through easily central water. Liberty has the cheapest by far water of anybody.
Eastleigh Central Water District charged me $14 last month. I'll show you the bill.
Well, I don't doubt that whatsoever.
I know, really crazy water in the plants going on, and the bill is $17.62.
That's great. I can show you mine over $100. I don't know what the difference is.
Between in a city and out of the city.
Maybe. Yes,
When
sir.
all that went on, I was explained by the city administrator that it costs more for the people outside the city. Yet, the pond where mine goes to is a mile from my house.
Yeah.
How does it cost me more than it does people in the city that's going right down that same road?
I don't know. I can't answer that. Anybody want to?
You did, and I have nothing but praise for the Liberty City Police Department. I had the opportunity to meet one of their fine officers when I was driving a little bit faster than I wanted to go. I had a letter from meeting another when I paid for the little blue piece of paper he gave me. He was nothing but personable, professional, it's a good experience, even though I got a little blue piece of paper. I have had interactions with the Pickens County Sheriff's Department. They have shown themselves to be competent and professional.
Very much so.
My understanding that
Well, if his officer was at Table Rock and he was the one that was going to respond to your house, or Mr. Gilstrap was the one that was going to respond to your house. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Man, in no way are we trying to cut
No, absolutely.
the Pickens County Sheriff's Office. The only thing is 9 times out of 10, or the greater chance that our officer will respond to your house faster than a Pickens County Sheriff's deputy would. And that's only because we are so close.
Do you know how many crimes y'all stopped in progress last year?
How many crimes? I don't have those stats. I can definitely say with our police presence, patrolling neighborhoods, our police presence on traffic stops, our police presence on answering calls, and even backing up Pickens County Sheriff's Office when they call us to respond just outside the city because they don't have anybody close enough, that we do prevent crime.
So the city can call y'all to back them up, or if they can't respond quick enough.
It happens a good bit, yes,
So
sir.
really, we annex it in, you could be there even if we weren't in the city.
On certain things, yes, sir. It depends on how far it is out. I mean, there's a lot of variables there. Right.
Don't patrol Liberty, Green Forest anyway, the city of Liberty.
We do not patrol Green Forest.
They're currently in our neighborhood.
Right, and they may ride through. Some officers like to keep a good idea of where they might need to go just outside the city, but on a regular basis, that's not standard. Yes, sir.
I'd like to know what the law is on annexation.
I'm sorry now.
Sir, you're asking, you want some information about how the law works with regard to annexation?
How's the law?
Yes, sir. I'll be happy to explain it to you. There are 3 ways that you can annex into a city if you desire.
Let's talk about if you want to.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Not
Yes, sir. Under state law, it is about near impossible for you to be forced to annex into a city. Okay? There's only one method of annexation that might cause you to be annexed into a city without wanting to do that, and that is through a petition method. Let me explain real quick how the three methods work. There's a 100% petition method, there's a 75% petition method, and then there is a 25% election method. Real quick, the 100% method, you come to the city council, your property is contiguous to the city limits, and you say, I want to be in the city. You ask the city to annex you in. City council passes an ordinance and you're in. It's voluntary. You come to the council. You come to the city and say, I want to be in. And that is the most common way that annexation is accomplished in cities around the state. The 75% petition method works like this. 75% of the freeholders, and a freeholder is a property owner, who owns 75% of the total assessed value of a particular area of property being proposed to be annexed, they can petition the council to be annexed. So, for illustration, if you had 4 property owners who owned $100,000 worth of property together, 3 of those property owners together owned $75,000 worth of the property, okay? Those 3 came to the city and said, we want to be annexed in, and oh, by the way, we want to bring our neighbor in over here next to us. They could petition the council, and the council could annex all 4 properties in. Now, If that one property owner owned 75% of the assessed value, and the other three only owned 25%, and they wanted to come in, nobody could come in. Okay, does that make sense? Because you have to own 75% of the value, and you have to represent 75% of the people who own that value. Okay. The 25% petition method or election method works like this. 25% of the voters, the resident electors who live in an area that they draw a circle around property that they want to have annexed in. If 25% of the resident voters in that area petition the council, or they sign a petition that says, hey, we want to hold an election to decide, to let the people decide whether or not we want to be annexed into the city. They present the petition, the county election commission holds an election, and all of the electors, all of the voters who live inside that area get a chance to vote yes or no on whether or not they want their property to be annexed in. The 25% petition method is really probably the most common or easiest way for somebody to be forced into a city. But nobody ever uses that method. Nobody ever uses that part of the law in order to facilitate an annexation. So if in South Carolina, in most cases, if you don't want to be annexed into a city, you're not going to be annexed, because our laws are structured so that it is almost always voluntary. Under very few circumstances is it involuntary. So your decision here tonight is a financial one. Okay? If you decide that the benefits of living in the city are good enough for you that you want to come into the city, then you can come to the council and petition and say, hey, I'd like to be in the city, and they can accept you, and they can decide whether or not they want to take you in. Just because you ask to be in doesn't mean that they will necessarily take you. They don't have to take you just because you ask. So for residents around the state, it always typically boils down to a financial decision, dollars and cents, as to whether or not they want to be in the city. It's not a question of not having a choice, because it is a choice. It is almost always your choice to make as to whether or not you want to be in the city. Yes, sir.
Can you give us an exception to the choice?
Well, the exceptions would be if you're that one owner out of the four who doesn't own more than 75% of the assessed value, then you could not come in. Then you could be forced in by the other three. If you were a property owner who, if you didn't want to be in the city and 25% of those voters asked for an election and you voted no and you lost, everybody else voted yes, then you would be forced in. I'll give you an example. The town of Fort Mill just had an election 2 weeks ago under this 25% petition method. And of the 100, I think there was about 250 residents or 250 people, properties, and 160 of the property or the residents voted to come into the city, and the other 90, they had to come in.
Well, I understand the election process,
Yeah.
because that's in the three that you
Right.
explained.
Yes, sir.
I'm asking for exceptions outside of those choices.
The only other exceptions would be if under the 25% petition method, if you own agricultural property 10 or more acres, you could opt out. Or under the 25% petition, the election method, if you own 25% of the assessed value of the area that's being proposed to be annexed. So, as an example again, if you had $100,000 worth of value that was being proposed to be voted on to be annexed in, and you own $25,000 worth of the value, you could notify the city, hey, I don't want to go in, and they would not have to, you could be excluded. You wouldn't have to be included from that. Those are really the only exceptions in the law because of...
Well, I'm sensing the mood here that everybody's real concerned about having a choice.
Well, I
Being in or not
I don't think that the city cannot by law initiate a petition for annexation. Or it can ask you to come in, but unless you come to the city and say, I want to be in, you cannot be forced into the city unless you hold that election under that 25% petition method I mentioned to you earlier.
That, in the very beginning, if you recall, in the very beginning, I said it's totally volunteer. There's no blanket annexation. Nobody is forcing you to come into the city. This is a form to petition the city council to come into the city. If you feel like you want to do that, you're more than welcome to fill this out. We will take it and hold it and do whatever we possibly can. If you don't want to come into the city, just don't fill one of these out. That's all. That's simple as that. You know, we're not trying to force anybody in. Yes, sir.
Versus $504.90.
You don't want to come into the city, you're not.
You gotta make up your mind, you gotta look at the facts and the numbers. You gotta make up your mind.
Let me say this, and,
Hang on just a second.
force is not a very good word, and that's not our intent. We're not here to force anybody into the city. We merely call this meeting to explore and investigate the opportunities and possibilities. I think each and every property owner has to run the numbers themselves and see where it works. You have to put the value on, you know, if you don't think the police is of any value to you, you don't think they're going to help, you got to put the value on each individual thing yourself, and it's got to stand on its own merit. You can't just generally say the numbers here presented tonight works for everybody. They don't. That's just a hypothetical example of how it can work. So you got to run the numbers yourself, make a decision what you think is best for you individually as a property owner.
The question that,
How solvent is the city and what is your credit rating?
the ISO credit rating,
ISO or financial credit rating?
Financial credit rating.
We have excellent financial credit rating. Our debt to asset ratio is very, very low. We have 2 long-term debts, which are bond issues that were made 15, 20 years ago that are maturing. Well, one of them is maturing pretty soon. We're in excellent shape financially.
So what's the need of annexing in?
We've got very good.
What's the need of annexing in more property then? Why are you exploring adding more people to annex in if you don't need added revenue?
if you could save some money by being annexed in, would you not like to come into the city?
I'm sorry, sir, but all I'm getting right now is opinion. I haven't got any hard numbers. You telling me where I live now, if I annex into the city, it's not going to change my water or my sewer.
Yes, I don't know where you got that. It will reduce the water and the sewer.
Well, not if you're on the south side or on the...
So it's not
no,
going to
I'm
make
sorry.
any difference for me.
I'm sorry, let me answer his question. Let me answer his
About one
question.
question at a time, please.
Quote, raise revenue for the city by asking residents to voluntarily come into the city limits.
Lady, please let him answer the question before you, okay? And we'll get to you in a second, but you're out of order, okay?
Okay.
Answer the original question, then let her ask hers next.
Like I said in the very beginning, it may not be for everybody, may not save you any money whatsoever. If it won't, you don't think it's for you, don't fill out a form, please, do not. But if you think it works better for you, if you think you will save some money, if you think you'll get better service, then fill out a form. Maybe we can get you into the city. Some of you we may not be able to. That's as simple as that. That's all it amounts to.
Do y'all have a place for your bylaws that we could read those?
Beg pardon?
Do you have a place for your bylaws for the city of Liberty that we could read those in the city?
To be annexed in, you're talking about?
Just as how you run the city, what laws we need, right, like if there's an abandoned house next to me, what happens to that? how y'all handle certain situations with your city residents? Do you have anything in writing that I can read?
So is that on,
I'm sorry, I can't hear the question.
is that on, their website?
What was
By law?
No.
We have copies of it.
What does that have to do?
it? Well, we have city ordinances, I
Just
think
city
that's
ordinances.
what you're referring to.
Is that?
I'm not sure if we have them all in one, like a folder. I'm not sure which, I guess you would have to be more specific which.
We
ones.
primarily operate under the South Carolina state municipal law, but we do have city ordinances that address specific issues and specific areas. And then they're all at City Hall and available. to
Are they
look at.
online?
No, ma'am, they're not online yet. We're working on that.
David?
We've been friends and neighbors for a long time, and I think you need to get somebody to come out and check your water line. You got a leak, buddy.
May do it.
You got a leak.
May do it.
I know what my water bill runs, and I know what my neighbors run pretty close. You got a leak.
Well, maybe so, I don't know. I think I've tried to answer most of everybody's question, and I've tried to answer it honestly as possibly could with the knowledge that we have. Like I said, we do have forms. If you would like to take one home, think about it, run your own numbers, just like the mayor had suggested. It won't work for everybody. Everybody won't say, if you have south side or easily central water, no, we can't save you any money. If you have Liberty Sewer, we could possibly save you a little bit there, and on the fire fee. And hopefully we can give you better service than you have now. Yes, sir?
For the vehicle tax estimator that you had on this spreadsheet here, vehicle taxes, this difference, is this how much more you would pay in the city or less? It really doesn't
Okay.
say.
If you recall, when we were looking at the chart on a $100,000 house, it was about, if you only had water, if you only had, if you only had sewer, and then the tax on the fire fee, or the fire fee, and you only had sewer, then you're looking at about $75 more than you would if you lived in the city. Now that $75 is going to be eat up by your vehicle taxes. It'll be eat up by your vehicle tax. If you'll see on a $5,000 vehicle outside of the city, and the difference is, what is it, $15 or so? And then a $10,000 and on up to 20, and then if you have a $30,000, just add them together. So that you're saving will help pay your vehicle taxes.
Okay,
That's
so
what the
vehicle taxes will probably feel like a cut on here.
I'm sorry?
So it's no really increase from the city on vehicle taxes?
No, absolutely not, no.
And we need to go ahead and wrap it up, because I know everybody wants to get home as well as we do. But let's just say this, nobody's trying to make anybody go into the city. If you are interested in looking at the numbers, city clerk downtown will help you run them. The county will be glad to work with you on it. If you have any interest at all. I appreciate everybody coming out. I appreciate your interest. And in all due respect to the lady standing in the back, I did cut you off. So if you have a statement, I'll be glad to let you talk now. Thank you for your patience.
Okay, thank you everybody for coming out.